There we go. We are live.
Hey, welcome. It's Monday, 1 o'clock. Welcome to the Deal Doctor live stream. And today we've got a couple of folks, Eric Graham and Paul Carlson. So today we're going to talk a little bit about broker IDs and making sure that your information on your web pages and social media and all of that is accurate and the manner in which we have to do that. So first of all, let me open it up to Paul a little bit and just share a couple of thoughts, Paul, if you will, about the requirements for broker IDs.
So I think a lot of people, if you're newer to the industry, you might not have been around back when it was the wild, wild west, when you could have your broker name this, you could have your broker name super tiny, about as small as my name in the corner here on my little profile picture. It was basically the wild, wild west out there for identifying brokers. So you had agents with huge names, no broker recognition. And then you had other brokers that wouldn't allow their agent to brand themselves at all. So you had this really weird space where you have signs out there on the streets. Some of them say Don Phelan in huge letters. Another one says some other broker, the broker name in huge letters with no agent name whatsoever. And a few years back, I want to say probably at this point, probably 6 years ago now, 5 to 6 years ago, some legislation came through the state of Michigan where they were going to regulate the size of the agent name and the size of the broker name, and then all of the rules surrounding broker identification by realtors. And it was during that time, we actually kind of fought it. Greg and I put together a little petition, and it was really Greg's baby, but we put together a little petition and we sent it out to every single realtor in the state of Michigan, trying to fight the requirement for the broker name and the agent name to be exactly the same size. We were fighting for the broker name to be 50% the size of the agent name. So all that to be said, the state of Michigan set rules that say that your name can be no bigger than your broker name. And it needs to be that way on all advertising. And then you also have to have either your broker's address or broker's phone number present on all advertising as well. Those are the two biggies. Is that how you understand it too, Don and Eric?
Yeah, the address or office phone number has to be the office address or the official office phone number.
Yep.
One of those two. That's been around for as long as I've been around.
Yep.
But this idea of the name of the agent or team cannot be larger than the stacked logo of the 5-star real estate leaders logo. They cannot be.
Yeah, so there's two ways. There's kind of two ways to slice this one, and we can post a couple of images into the chat as well. But you have two things. You have what's called a stacked logo. So if Don's name is here and his last name is here, then that would be a stacked logo, Don Phelan. And this would be a single line, Don Phelan, right? So you have two different ways to look at it. So 5-star has 5-star and then real estate leaders. So that box is our stacked logo. Your name can be no bigger than that, whether it's on one line or two lines, or you can use what's called font size. So it gets a little confusing, and we can give all of the clarifications in the chat box here after the live stream.
That's great. And I think the sum takeaway here, I think, is that we want to make sure agents, if they're creating their logos or have an artist friend of theirs, a graphic designer of some sort, send it to us, send it to our design team, let our design team take a look at it to make sure it's in compliance with law regulations. Eric, what do you share your thoughts on this?
There's a lot of confusion with this. There always has been. And the whole intent with 5-star was that we really wanted to market the agent primarily, not the broker, right? We wanted to, but we got shut down. That didn't work out. So this 50-50 equal agent and broker name, it works, but I think the examples that if we can post some will really help clarify what agents need to do. But I'm sure we're going to lead into a segue here, but what's even more important is when we have websites or other media that we're marketing ourselves, how do we stay in compliance? And Don, why don't you segue us into the next part here.
You
Yeah.
know me too well. You know me too well. You're absolutely right. And yes, the next section of this is, okay, so now that we know we have certain constraints, certain regulations that we have to abide by under Lara, how does that translate to how we identify ourselves on the internet, whether it's within our websites, social media, anything, even our signatures within our email. So again, let's talk about the, and the example I gave in this conversation before we started our live stream today was, I called an agent and got the agent's voicemail, and lo and behold, the agent said that, thanks for calling so-and-so, and I'm with, so-and-so real estate. It wasn't 5-star. And so sometimes we forget to change over when we're in the process of something. We forget to change over and put a new voicemail on, or go to all of our social media pages, LinkedIn, Facebook, any Facebook, groups that we're a part of. And that's really a step in the process.
And to add to that, Don, the MLS, this is how this works out there for people who don't understand. You're going to be turned in not by the public, but by your peers. It is 99% of the time one of your biggest admiring fans that turns you in for improper advertising, improper logo usage, improper anything you could do. Someone is watching you and they will turn you in, because we receive those complaints. Don or myself, Eric, we get a little love note from the association saying, hey, we got a problem here with some advertising. And I will tell you that once they find one area where you're wrong, they will go and search for every single time your name shows online. Like Don said, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, they will go looking for it. And they will say, oh, we noticed this location, this location, this location. And if they don't feel like you're taking them very seriously, they will send it to their panels, their committees at the association, and they will do a deep dive into you. And if they don't feel like you act accordingly, they will actually pull you in front of them, and there will be a big hearing about your advertising practices. And I can tell you from experience, once they are onto you like that, they're not letting go until they solve every single last one of them.
Yeah, it can be a long and tedious process if you don't take this serious, because it is, they take this very serious. I mean, I keep telling Don to stop reporting me, but
yeah,
to no avail.
Yeah.
It's just what I do, Eric.
So
I do want to touch on while we're still within social media, there's a one-click rule or a one-click interpretation. Can you explain that, Paul?
yeah, so let's say you post an image of a house for sale. And on the image, because like we can't slap our name and logo on every single thing we do, right? And the way that social media works is it'll grab a chunk of what you do, it'll share it, or it'll recommend it, or it'll show up in someone's feed, right? It's kind of detached from anything. It's just showing up randomly on a feed. And so because it's impossible for us to like for example, if I share something from the MLS, it might pull a photo in with nothing on that photo other than just a house and then a link to your profile. So the one link rule that Don is referring to is that in these instances where something is out there that doesn't say the broker, the name, all the required information, if they can click one time and then boom, there's Don Phelan, 5-star realtor, here's the broker address, here's whatever it is, all the boxes are checked. That is the one click rule. If it's not, but it's not a get out of jail free card. Because if you make an advertisement and it's clearly an advertisement, you leave everything off of there except for your name huge and your photo, they will call you out on that too. So they're not going to, the one click rule is really like, oh, I can see how that situation was weird. That makes a lot of sense. But they're going to sniff through your junk. If you're like, well, it's a one click rule, they'll go, no. That was an advertisement. That was a clear advertisement. You had plenty of opportunity to put your broker name on there, and you're bending the rules. They will pin you on that.
Now, your characterization of it being not a get out of jail free card is absolutely perfect, because that's exactly the perception sometimes that agents say, well, it's, it just has to be within one click. No, you better be careful because there are other issues that they will evaluate in the process of determining whether or not you're in violation. But the point is, if they've gotten that far, you're already in their sights.
Yeah.
You're already in the line of fire.
Yep.
Yeah, the only comment I would say to that is agents who take on marketing, it's not as simple as just let's slap something together, do it quick. It really takes out planning. And it might mean that you need to pay some money to even a marketing department, even through 5-star, to get all of your ducks in a row so that you can then mass reproduce things quickly and efficiently. But just trying to do it out of the blue on the fly, you're probably going to overlook something, in my opinion.
So, gosh, ducks in a row. That seems like a time for a really good segue, Eric.
It was just raining out. I mean, with all this rain here, I was thinking ducks.
So what happens? One of the things that I key on every once in a while is when I get an email from a real estate agent and it doesn't have their phone number. It doesn't say they're a real estate agent. It doesn't say they're with 5-star. It doesn't have any sort of link to them, and other than I'll get something that says blah blah blah, with somebody's name at the end. So how does that fit in with this discussion?
Well, the rules don't say every time you communicate, you have to disclose everything about yourself. So if I'm just emailing with you, Don, and I'm like, hey, Don, I saw that house you had listed on Main Street here. What's the skinny on that? And it just said Paul at the bottom. That wouldn't be illegal. Now, if I blasted an email out saying, hey, everyone, look at this house at 123 Main Street. Now my email is turned into a marketing activity. So the disclosure that we're discussing right now is when marketing and advertising and talking about these real estate properties that you're listing and selling, or you're doing real estate activities, it's really tied to the marketing and advertising. And this is also where it gets kind of gray, and you really would just want to make, you might as well just have it in there, Don, just to make it simple. But also if I text you, it's not illegal. But if I do a blast text via a marketing text, right? So they're going to look at the nature of what you were doing, and they're going to evaluate from, because they're all realtors too. The panel that's evaluating you, every single one of them is a selling realtor. So they're going to know very quickly what you're up to because they do it themselves. And like I said, I've seen people try to play dumb. I've seen people try to be a little oh my gosh, I just didn't realize I'm not, that's not an excuse. They don't really care. It's up to you to make sure you understand all the rules. Once you get in with them, Don, and they pull you in front of them, you're probably not getting, if they think you're guilty, you're probably not getting out for less than $500.
Yeah. And
so are you saying here, Paul, that we need to know the laws to practice real estate?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, we have to know the laws. We got to know the rules here.
Okay. I wanted to clear that. I wanted to clear that up.
So whether or not you're in compliance with some of the manner of communication like emails and texts, very often will have to do with the context in which you're using it. If it's a promotion, if it's marketing, if you're getting your brand out there, then you probably ought to be identifying yourself as far as who you are, what broker you're working for, as well as having that contact information that's necessary, an office phone number, for example.
Yeah. So here's a prime example, Don. If I've got a business page and if I've got a Facebook business page and I've got a personal page, if I'm using both of them regularly, I'm posting stuff on my business page. My business page is all set up right, 5-star address, all of it's there. But then I go to my personal page. Hey guys, I'm at an open house. Check it out. Check out my new listing, guys. Look at all this stuff, guys. Check out what I'm doing, guys. Look at what I'm up to, guys. Just sold, guys. You'll get pinned on your personal page too. So if you're going to use your personal page for marketing, which I honestly suggest we all do, because that's where most of your clients are going to be hanging out, on your personal page, not your business page. You need to have it somewhere on there, whether it's on your header in the right-hand corner or left-hand corner, like somewhere it's displayed, whether it's in your about you section. I'm a realtor with 5-star real estate. Here's the address. You've got to have it on there because they're digging and they're looking at everything right now. And your peers because they're getting in trouble. They're gonna, it's kind of like a tit for tat. So there's it's constant tit for tat on who's not obeying the rules properly.
Great that you bring up the 5-star, I'm sorry, Facebook personal page. So I'm going to throw out an example. Agent Bob has a on his about pay information on Facebook personal page. He has ABC Team Real Estate. That's it. No identification of 5-star.
So like, let's say my team was the Sunshine Team. It just says Paul Carlson, the Sunshine Team, but no brokerage affiliation. Yeah, that would be a clear violation.
Okay. Let's talk about it not so much from an issue of compliance, but professionalism. When you send out, personally, when you're doing business and you're communicating with someone via text, whether it's a client or another realtor, do you use a signature on your text messages?
I personally do not use a signature on my text message because I'll introduce myself the first time. I'll say, hey, I had some questions for you about your listing here on Ionia Avenue. Can you give me a call in a second here? Paul Carlson, 5-star real estate. That's my first text. From there, I assume I've already said it once. I don't have to reintroduce myself every time. And so I've texted the people who have their signature on every single time. And I find it a little bit annoying that every single text says, Don Phelan, Don Phelan,
Right.
Don Phelan. So I find that a little bit like a little overkill on a text.
Yeah, mine don't, do they really?
No, yours don't. But I have with people. I have with someone who like every single text. It was like
I
a
had it set up that way,
signature.
but I wanted to check.
Yeah.
But you can put in, as you say, it is appropriate to put your name and company name and your contact information in your first text, and
Absolutely.
then you don't need to keep doing it over and over.
No, I mean, I think that in today's day and age, it's got a track record in everyone's phone anyway, so it's already in there in that text thread.
Eric, what do you feel about signature blocks for email?
Definitely. I like them. One, anytime you're marketing, again, if you're providing a real estate service, and a lot of times when we're practicing with emails, we're probably doing something with regards to providing guidance or counseling. We're setting it up. We're introducing ourselves. We're talking about real estate and our services. So yes, it's very important to ensure that you have your name, a 5-star logo, and either the address or telephone number of the brokerage, and that it's in compliance with font size.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if we're going to go and create a signature block for our emails that go out, whether they are promotional or just used on a daily basis, they have to still comply with the name, 5-star name, and agent name or team name regulations, right, Paul?
And here's another great thing. You're talking to your friends. Maybe, they're going to start seeing and start remembering you as a real estate agent, right? I mean, you're also marketing without really having to do anything.
Yeah. I just have it set up all the time. So no matter who I'm emailing, and my signature is the same every time.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to remember to go in and check your stuff all the time, whether it's your LinkedIn profile. I went on my LinkedIn profile in preparation of this, and I realized that the information I had there from there a year ago, just a year ago, has changed. And so I went in and did some edits, and then I thought, well, I better check all of my other profiles. And then I looked at my signature block in my emails, and I found errors there that a link that wasn't working. So it's really important not only to have it, but to keep it updated as well.
So here's a little known thing that while we're on this kind of topic with identification, if you get married and your last name changes and you don't update Laura, they will find you. They will catch you eventually. Someone will turn you in. They'll find you. If you move and you don't tell Laura that you moved, and so everyone else has the proper address, but Laura has the wrong address, you will also get fined for that. They will come at you after you for that. So it's very important that you understand it's like anytime something changes, you have to rifle it through the whole entire system.
And with technology today and the internet, social media sites, that's a lot more work than it used to be when all we had to do was have a new business card made
Right.
up. Yeah. So
Mhm.
any final thoughts, Eric? I'm gonna let Paul have the last thought here before we leave. But Eric, you go first. Anything?
No.
Okay. Hey,
So
Paul.
my thoughts would be like, if you're looking to do any kind of advertising and you have a question, just message me, message Mary Scalzity, say, hey, does this look good to you? We're always happy to take a look at something to make sure we can keep you out of trouble. If you are wondering if like you've done your website right, or if you're building your own custom website, or you're building a postcard campaign, whatever it is that you're doing, you can always get a second opinion. We'll take a look at it. We'll help you navigate it. But when in doubt, just make your name a touch smaller and make the logo a little bit bigger. If you feel like you're pushing it, you probably are. And someone else will bust a ruler out and they'll start measuring it, you know, and just, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Your client, you know, there are clever ways for us to make your information appear more prominent than 5 stars. So we've found all sorts of ways to move 5-star into different corners and then have you front and center, but we're still hitting the rules and we're making it work for everybody involved. So we're happy to help you navigate that. Should you have any questions?
And the one more thing is we're going to provide some examples, some
Yep.
illustrations of right way, wrong way, and maybe even the instructions for how an agent can create their own signature block. So
Yep.
thank you for both for joining here today, and we will see you here next week.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank
See ya.
you.